Welcome back to the Sights and Sounds here in Rio de Janeiro. A big day now in its final segment. A great final between John Florence and Jack Freestone. Gig Cilliers alongside Peter Mel, been doing a lot of the analysis here. Strada Wazalewski in the pits. Wow, we're just getting our thoughts together from that final. Let's reflect.
Well, dominating performance by John Florence, and it started with that semifinal and lifting his game, and then taking that same momentum, going straight into that final, applying the pressure to Jack Freestone. Jack did have a small answer to it, but really it was all about John that entire final from start to finish.
Well, yeah, you know, Jack, I don't think he's 100%. I think he's still coming off of a little bit of pain in that knee. And he, you know, you could see how much flow and how freed up John was. And he really just looked like that John we wanted to see. And I'm stoked to get to see it for the first time this year. He gets to take the win, and we get to see him move on up into third place. And then we get to see the race tighten up a bit. Not a lot. Wilco's still leaving with that yellow jersey, but what an exciting day of surfing.
Well, and especially when you start to see it kind of turn to where we're going in the season. You know, this next event would be probably one of those events that you would say John is a favorite going into it. Big left-hand barrels, two riding. You know, he's up at tied for second in the rankings with Italo Ferreira. Italo making semis there. So it's becoming to start to see the world title race unfold. And it's so exciting to see because there's so many contenders in it.
Yeah, we talk about a tipping point coming here at stop for the Oi Rio Pro. But let's go and have a look at the recap of that finals, gentlemen. Great action out in the water. Pete, you spoke about John reaching his peak at the right time here in 2016.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things I like about what John did too in this final is that he really didn't need to go to the air right away, and he didn't. And his big scores came off of surfing that was done on the face, but it was vertical, and it was strong, and it was fast. I mean, that type of maneuvers there for finish moves, you can't deny it. He had that big layback snap to start that wave. You know, Jack did end up going back to his strengths, doing this types of moves here, but it just never was quite that same level that John brought. You know, there was a substantial difference in my opinion.
I love the way, you know, he felt the flow right here. It comes down, he's like, okay, it's time for some fireworks. Boom! Throws the tail out to the beach. You know, it's so hard to ride out of that stuff, but he does it like he's doing it with Braille. He's just holding on, feeling the situation, and comes away. Jack almost looked a little too comfortable doing his air threes, and, you know, finishes off the little tail slide on the inside here. If he would have whipped it around, maybe in reverse, he would have got a little bit more of a score out of it. But you know what? Hats off to Jack. Like we said, first rookie into the final for this year, and I love it. You know, Jack's here to play, and it's good to see him back in action. But that man right there, arms up, hats off. Big win for his second time here in Brazil for John Florence.
Brazil is kind to John Florence. His first win here on this soil in the South Americas coming back in 2012. But here in 2016 gets to press the replay button. And, well, a deserving winner all the way.
And you wonder if this opens floodgates. I mean, we talk about the winning feeling and being able to translate that into event wins and successive event wins. We will see, but I really like the way the rest of this season unfolds for John. You know, the final obviously climaxing in his backyard in Pipeline. This is a year where this, like I said, could be the stepping stone for his first world title. Now, not letting it affect him, right? Not letting that kind of pressure and pushing that on him. But, you know, it's a change, John, in regards to putting all of his focus directly on this tour, on competing solely. He's utilizing help. You know, he's got a good team around him already, but...
well, the same could be said for Medina and other surfers along the way, too.
We're going to talk about momentum.
I agree with you there. I agree with you that, you know, John's mistakes were learned from. He had to get them out of the way, and now he's going to find, you know, a good flow through the rest of the year. I feel like it's going to be like John and Medina there in the end for sure.
Well, no mistakes from John Florence. He'll be down on that winner's podium, and with that we're going to go down to our presentation. Joe Chappelle, take it away for us.
Thank you very much, Giggs. Great to see everybody down here for another great event at the Oi Rio Pro. So happy to see all the great fans, and always back to some of my favorite words. To the bang, to the beleza, all my favorites right there. Beleza, beleza. Thanks for coming down, and thanks for being such wonderful fans. We love coming down here each and every year, and it's been another brilliant year. Brazil is so beautiful and so important for the Samsung Galaxy Championship Tour. This year it's stop number 4 of the season, but we always go back to the greats. 1976, Pepe Lopez won the first one. Daniel Friedman, he's still here as a big official at this major event. Since then, we've seen so many different champions hoist the trophy here in Rio, and a lot have gone to world titles. Lately, it's been all about the Brazilian Storm, Gabriel Medina, Adriano de Souza, classic champions of the world, and now thinking about this event has been nothing but spectacular. Big obrigado, muito obrigado to all the fans. Galera, it's so amazing to see you down here. It's been really fun. And also everyone watching on the worldsurfleague.com, we can't thank you enough. We've got to thank a lot of our support crew, which has been amazing here. Some of our main sponsors, Oi, coming through again in a big way. Big thanks there, obrigado. Also, Corona, our presenting sponsor of the Oi Rio Pro in 2016. Thank you so much. I also want to thank the City of Rio, Rio Tourism, the State Government, Secretary of Sport, Leisure and Youth, Jeep, GoPro, Guadana, Antarctica, and Furnas for all the support throughout this event. Thank you so much. Obrigado. Well, this event was really fun because we got to go to Gumari. We've never done that before. That's a beautiful beach. Got to see some great performances in the early rounds. And then we finally got everything back up together here at Postinho. A big thanks to the hardworking crew to recover from the storm to get this beautiful scaffolding up and running and really host the world's best in such a great way. Obrigado. That was really good to see. We have some special people up here with me on stage. We'd like to welcome Bayard Gontijo, the CEO for OI, also WSL Deputy Commissioner, and Nato Hickel, who's been around the sport well, since it started. He's been around for a long time. I'm so lucky to have him on tour with us, telling us the great stories. Shandy Fontes, thank you for being up here on stage. We have a very special moment here because we always give out trophies, but we have a trophy that's got a lot of meaning, and Bayard's going to be able to hand this off to our winner. We think about this surfboard right here in the corner, and it has special artwork on it, and it was all based on the comments on social media throughout the Oi Rio Pro. It was painted live during the event, and it was all coming from the fans around the world. You see Glumari on the bottom, Postinho, all the major stories, including the Brazilian Storm, which is probably one of our favorite stories coming into this contest. So we'll be handing that out in just a moment. Now thinking about our finalists, it's been a very interesting year. We've had some new names get into the final heat of the contest and really have groundbreaking results. Thinking about our runner-up for the Oi Rio Pro, a man coming from the Gold Coast of Australia, returning from injury to form in his first ever final performance. Second place in the Oi Rio Pro, Jack Freestone. Jack Freestone won 2 junior titles. Worked hard for a few years to get to this top stage. Finally qualifying as a rookie, he had a tough injury, had to miss 2 events, but how sweet is a comeback role now, making your first final of your career, Jack? You've got to be pretty proud of your performance.
Yeah, I'm very happy, and I'd just like to thank everyone here. The support has been crazy, and I'd like to congratulate John as well on a crazy win, and it was such a cool time being here in Rio, and thank you so much to everyone.
Making a final in your career, Jack Freestone, so quickly as a rookie. Was it all that it was made up to be? Anything you do different looking back?
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was a long week. You just kind of take it heat by heat, I guess. And yeah, to come back from an injury and get a second, I'm over the moon.
One more time for Jack Freestone. Muito obrigado. Second place in the Oi Rio Pro. Doing some big turns along the way. Now we've got a lot of cool feeling in the crowd because I know this is one of your favorites in the entire world. We'd like to introduce your champion in 2016 for the Oi Rio Pro, John Florence. Now presented by the board, created by all the fans around the world, putting in their input on social media. We'll have John just hoist it up real quick. That's a special edition, put together by the best comments, put together live here on site. So always remember this victory. And now we can set that one to the side and get the trophy out, presented by Deputy Commissioner Renato Hickel. John Florence, this has been maybe like a second or two. This has been a really fun season for you. Obviously, clinching the Eddie at the start was one of the most memorable moments of your life. But your dream to win a world title, now getting this momentum coming early, you're number 3 in the world. What clicked for you here in Rio de Janeiro to take you to victory?
I don't know. I love coming back here to Rio. This is the first WCT I ever won, and the waves are real similar to Hawaii, real powerful out there. And everyone's been so supportive, so thank you for that. And it's been a long week, but we've had a lot of fun days enjoying Rio. And I don't know, this contest is just, I like this contest. I like this place.
We look back at your other finals in the past, there's something that clicks into gear in Rio. You touched on the comparison with Hawaii, the fans getting behind you. Do they really fuel you to perform like you did in the final today?
Yeah, for sure. If it wasn't for everyone and all the support out there cheering us on every wave, I don't know if I would have been as stoked, but it's pretty awesome. Thank you guys. Obrigado. And yeah.
We see you get in that form where you can do no mistakes, going to 7s to 8s to 9 7s to 9-2, all in succession in a final like that. We try to put it into words. What's it feel like when you're going through that kind of form?
To be honest, I couldn't even hear the scores for a while, and so I didn't really know. And then I just heard that my total, and there was still 20 minutes left, and I was like, oh my gosh, Jack's just going to do some huge error and then going to come back out and get another one. So I was just kind of sitting, trying to be on the best waves, and it ended up working out.
Now sitting at number 3 in the world, we can now officially talk about the world title campaign, something you've always been going for. Are you feeling at your personal best at this stage, and is that something you'll achieve this year?
I don't know if it's something I will achieve this year. Obviously, I want to try, and that's my main goal in my life, but I'm just going to take it heat by heat, event by event, and, hopefully come out on top, but we'll see.
Last question, biggest challenge for you this week to overcome, and the thing that you're most proud of at the end of the day?
The thing that I'm most proud of is just, winning this event. It's the waves have been so hard, and everyone's been surfing so well. I'm so stoked to be here and, be on top.
Epic to hear, John Florence, your Oi Rio Pro champion in 2016. John will now move to number 3 on the Jeep leaderboard, heading into the Fiji Pro. We'll now enjoy this Corona moment, and we'll send it back to the post show on the decks with Gig Celliers. Enjoy the celebration, everybody. Obrigado.
Muito obrigado, Joe. Well, just soaking up these moments here with Jack and John on screen.
It's a new generation.
It's the next generation, and they're here.
It's good to see both these surfers. I mean, and again, talk about Jack Freestone and hitting his potential. I mean, he should be, and we've been talking about it for several years here. Seeing him make this final, and I think if you talk about guys who have gained momentum in this event, you would have to say that Jack Freestone, coming back from injury, a slow start at the Gold Coast, and now into the finals, he'll jump up the rankings and pretty much find his way into qualification going forward. I mean, obviously he's still got a lot of work to do to make sure that happens, but this is a great step.
Yeah, you know what? He looked great. He coming off of this, he's going to go home, he's going to rest, he's going to probably do some more rehab. Every day he's been doing rehab over here with the physio guys. You see him back there, he's getting the treatment, he's getting the needles, he's doing everything behind the scenes that maybe everybody out there doesn't get to see. He's not 100%, yet he still made the final. He's going to go home, he's going to do some more rehab, he's going to get comfortable, and then he's going to come to Fiji full strength, hopefully.
Yeah, now, other surfers that are be carrying momentum, obviously the winner of this event, the Oi Rio Pro, John Florence, moving directly into the top 3 there. So going into that next few events, you've got J-Bay, you've got Fiji, J-Bay, then Tahiti. Those would be strong events for John. And also Gabriel Medina, I think, is another one who's picked up a ton of momentum. We talked about him throughout the entire event, putting up 210s, was pretty much a shoo-in to make the final, but Jack Freestone stood in his way. So those are the 3 guys that I think have really picked up momentum in this one.
Yeah, you can see right there what we got. Parco still in the top 10 all the way through. Medina, Kolohe, Jordy all the way up through. Matt Wilco still sitting at number 1. And look at the point spread. Still a lot of points, almost 6,000 there, separating the first and second place guys. But you know what? It's tightened up. It's getting a little better. The race is going to get good. But, I just have to say, Matt Wilkinson's got to feel good going into Fiji, still sitting that far out in front.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a big buffer of points at the top of the scale for Matt Wilkinson. Of course, Adriana de Souza and John both 13th coming here to Brazil. They're now firmly in that top 10 picture, Pete.
Yeah, and then if you talk about some of the surfers that have maybe lost momentum, you would have to say Wilco a little bit. I mean, he's had 2 losses now in those early rounds. He's got to find a way, and I think having having Micro in his corner, I think is a perfect person to kind of allow him to figure out a way to get through this little bad patch and turn it around going into Fiji.
Well, if I can give him a tip, honestly, I think his surfboards are going to play a major part in this role going forward into Fiji. He's going to have to get some boards that have a nice hard line edge on that, finish job, so that he doesn't slide up and out of the barrel. He needs to hold the rail, be in that bowl the whole time. It's something we don't see a lot out of him. It's just a little something. Looking at his performances, I think that's going to help him a lot. He knows how to use the board. He knows how to get barreled, but the equipment needs to be able to hold a line in the barrel.
Completely different playing field coming up next. Stop 5, the Fiji Pro. You're talking the details of equipment there, but in the end it is still the same mentality, the same set of players in those man-on-man heats, the 3-man heats. So it's back to war for the soldiers, so to speak, in not long now. June 5th for the men, May 29th for the ladies, so it's not far off.
Yeah, quick succession. I mean, and you talk about carrying that. I mean, John's going to be able to still be feeling the high of winning here, going straight into Fiji. I mean, he may even try to go home for a bit, or maybe he might go straight to Fiji. Who knows? I mean, the island itself is pretty full when you've got the women starting just next week, and then they'll come in the week after. So there's still 2 weeks before we start seeing the Fiji for the men.
Yeah, but I think the men regardless, are going to get over there as soon as they can. I mean, they want to get practice in. You can never have enough time on a playing field like that. Guys like Medina, I mean, this guy just got a crazy flow. Seabass, this guy is an animal backside in the barrel. He comes off the reefs over in Hawaii. He's, it's not like he had a bad performance here. He looked really, really good. He just got it taken away from him in the dying, literally 3 seconds of the heat. He's still got mad momentum coming into it. You got all these guys that are like Kolohe's performed well over there. You got Joel, who had some 10s last year. All the momentum is going to come flying through Fiji right now. It is going to be so fun to watch that event.
Danger man would be Gabriel Medina going into Fiji. Again, a third here, into that top 10 from way down low on the rankings, and now he's going to be able to go into Fiji, where I think he's really comfortable. I mean, the thing about Gabriel Medina at that event, he's a great barrel rider. He's on his forehand, so he's able to, like, cloud break is one of those ways in the barrel that you need to be able to kind of make adjustments, and the forehand is almost an advantage there, where in contrast to, say, a Tahiti type barrel, where you need to, it's almost like advantage on your backhand, right? I mean, forehand in a cloud break, you got to be able to steer through the barrel and get up high when it kind of runs small, and then it'll actually open back up. And I think the forehanders have a definite advantage in that way. I mean, would you agree with me there?
Let's just not forget about the maestro. He might not have been here at this event, but Kelly Slater is going to be ready to rock and roll, let me tell you. He went back for that last swell. He's looking really good, and he is going to come out swinging. He had to take a little time, and he did, and I can calculate, into it, looking at it, thinking about what he's done. Personally, I think he's going to come out looking really good over there. He's worked on all of his boards. He's worked on, materials, everything that's going into it. I think he's going to come out looking really good there.
Coming out of stop 4 now, a whole new picture to the discussion as we wrap up this 4th stop on tour, Pete. We had a couple of clear pictures at the end of the Australia one, but now the whole thing seesawed with, so much change in the top 10 discussion.
I would like to talk about Kelly Slater, because we didn't get to talk about him much here because he wasn't here, right? But when you go into a place like Fiji, which again, you would say local knowledge. I mean, Kelly spends more time there than anybody on tour. He knows that wave so well, stays with John Roseman, so he's comfortable. It's like a second home. He's been going there since he was like 16 years old. So he would be a danger man. But what's going to happen with Kelly is that where he sits in the rankings, he's going to be coming up against these top guys, early in the event. So he could be that, like you said, that danger man. He's going to be probably knocking out some of those contenders going forward. Another place, J-Bay. You'd have to say with no Mick Fanning there, Parko would be somebody who sits in that top 10 who has a good chance at J-Bay. Kelly again.
Well, don't forget, Fanning's going to come back and surf J-Bay.
Yeah.
Fanning's going to come back and surf.
That's right.
In Fiji.
I guess, yeah.
I mean, this guy's a world champ 3 times. He's got what he wants. He's had a wonderful little break. He's going to come back swinging for the fences too. We're going to see all these guys that weren't in this event in Fiji at J-Bay, and those are their strengths. That this thing has not even come close to being understood. It hasn't unfolded. This thing is going to go flip-flop back and forth, and the old guard's going to come back and say, oh, really? You think that we're done?
And one win just changes the picture, right? You saw that for John right now.
Yeah, it should. I mean, considering that's what we talked about, no one's really been a consistent high semifinals, quarterfinals wins, except for Wilco in the very beginning of the season. But now he's got some throwaway scores. You look at Tahiti, and then we got Trestles, and then we go to the beach breaks of France, and then, of course, Super Tubos, and then the finish and climax at Pipeline. I like John's chances.
I do too. I feel like John looks better than he ever has. I love the fact that he's trying to win heats. He's not just going out surfing, and he's making a conscious effort. He's got people around him. The support crew is second to none. And, we're going to coming into Fiji, we'll find out. But J-Bay is going to be one of those events where we're going to really see. That's where the corner gets turned, right? And at J-Bay, we can start to really look at who's out in front, where they sit, and I think that that's going to lend itself also to Wilco, because he has been smashing guys at J-Bay, and that backside whip is going to come back, and we're going to get to see it again, and the judges love it, so who knows? Wilco could be right back in this thing at J-Bay at the number 1 spot.
And I like what you were saying about equipment for him. He's been riding that little red carpet for a while now, but it would be nice for him to feel comfortable not just having to rely on that specific surfboard. I mean, I think that was a board that he is attached to. We've seen it come back here at this event. He didn't get the win. He had an unfortunate loss there with David Silva getting those 2 airs in the very end.
Almost exposed.
Yeah, in a way. But that's what I'm saying, is that if he can get rid of that red board and find some tools and win some heats on something else where all of a sudden it's not just like that's the winning board, then I think that you're right. I mean, his ability at J-Bay is an example where he can smash guys there. His backside whip at J-Bay is unbelievable. So you can see him contending as well.
Well, coming around the corner, you start to look at events that down the line, like Trestles, like Super Tubes. The platforms change. Everything we go through has got so many different aspects that, that's what makes this tour so amazing, because we get to watch these guys in all different types of surf, and in the end, it's the guy who handled it the best. It's the guy who took home the most wins.
Pete, surf conditions today, you'd think we might come up with some similar kind of playing field in France and in Portugal again, right? So you keep bringing John back into that discussion.
Yeah, but we're not always going to be guaranteed waves either, right? I mean, we could be going to Fiji and we're surfing the bowly lefts at restaurants the whole time, right? I mean, it could be pumping so large, and so all of a sudden you got to have that. There's backup venues that come into play, and we talk about, our motto here on the championship tour right now is you can't script this, and ultimately you can't. I mean, Strider likes to take claim today that he did script today's outcome.
Well, they asked, and I replied with the fact that Jack and John were going to be in the final, and John was going to win.
Good job, Strider.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. It's been a great stop for the Oi Rio Pro, now complete. Keep the World Surf League close to you. There's the qualifying series. There's the waiting period for the Big Wave Tour on the Southern Hemisphere. It's all happening. We're out. We'll see you in Fiji.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League. Happy Finals Day to everybody watching around the world. After 9 challenging days, finally down to the final 8. It is on. We'll be crowning a champion later on this morning.
Alive on his first offering. John, he's into the semi-finals.
Adriana de Souza moves on to the first semifinal to take on John Florence. Looks like Freestone is into his first semifinal as a rookie on tour.
Medina is on his way to a semi-final matchup. John Florence is going crazy in Brazil, and that was a nugget right there. John Florence is on his way to the final. Wow. Well, that's it.
Jack Freestone has taken out the former world champion Gabriel Medina. He'll take on John Florence. Couple of big whips on the forehand of John Florence as he is heating up. Freestone now punches out the finishing move. Now John goes straight up, jams it. And now looking to finish. Your champion in 2016 for the Rio Pro, John Florence.